What is good, everybody? Y'all know who it is. Y'all know why I'm here today. And that's to talk some fantasy football. It's week 3 coming up. If we got time, we're going to preview some games, but I'm going to kind of give you guys my starts and sits for each matchup. I'm going to be on the stream for a good 30 to 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes max, because I am feeling good today. Ate good today, going to work out today. So all is good, man. So we're going to be talking fantasy football. I'm going to run my intro, and we're going to get this show on and popping. It's going to be a quick show, straight to the point. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get it. I know. I told you guys we'll be doing this show Thursday night, but you know what? A little bit of time. I got a little bit of time, so I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and knock it out now. Give you guys the information that you guys desperately need now rather than later, right? So, we got a game coming on Thursday night. We're going to start with that game, but I'm going to pull up some games right now on my screen, and that's going to help me navigate which games to talk about. So that way I'm not on here rambling. So the first game of the week is going to be between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Browns. Here's what I like about this game. One thing that I like about this game is that it's going to be a game where it's competitive. It's going to be a game where you got some star power, right? You're going to have guys like Diontae Johnson, Claypool, and you're going to have guys like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Amari Cooper, man, welcome back to the NFL. He went off last week, right? So looking at this game, obviously Nick Chubb is a must start. You got to go Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has a chance to be a top 5 running back this year at the pace that he's going, especially if he continues to get these goal line carries. Nick Chubb is that dude. Nick Chubb can give you some Derrick Henry type vibes. I said that. I continue to say that. Y'all look at me crazy when I say it. But yeah, Nick Chubb definitely gives me Derrick Henry type vibes. So I'm starting both running backs. Amari Cooper's a guy that if I'm in desperate need of a wide receiver, I will start him versus Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh has a great defense. I'll start him because at the end of the day, he had 12 catches for 118 yards. So maybe this is the new Amari Cooper. Maybe this is Amari Cooper that we're going to see more times often than not. One thing that I did like last game was that Nick Chubb had 39 carries. He's at 39 carries for the season. I'm sorry. I'm looking at these numbers all wrong. I'm sorry. Even the Amari Cooper 12 catches, that's all wrong. That's season long. I'm sorry, guys. But Amari Cooper did have a great game this past game. Brissett, if you're in desperate need of a second quarterback and he's the best that you got, if you're looking at guys like Flacco or Brissett, and hey, you grab one of them guys. But the main guys to really look at in this game is, for one, Amari Cooper. He'll have wide receiver 3 upside this week. I don't see him as anything more than a wide receiver 3. So just throwing that out there. Also, Kareem Hunt had a down week, but I think that this is a week where Kareem Hunt can literally bounce back and be better. He can definitely be better. Ladarius Grant, man, what's good? It says, I told you Bills by 30. You weren't lying. You did call it. Bills by 30. My guy, Tommy, Anonymous Taylor, he was pissed off. He was mad. We were actually at a sports bar watching this game, and we wasn't really watching the game because, we had 2 games on TV. I really focused on that Vikings and Eagles game for obvious reasons. But, yeah, man, I gave it to you, man. You called it. Bills by 30. And that's that. So, guys, back to the Steelers and Browns game. Go Nick Chubb. Go Kareem Hunt. Go Diontae Johnson. That's the only receiver that I'll trust. And then, obviously, Pat Freiermuth has been great. So that's another player that I would start. Everybody else is pretty much considered a must-sit in my book. If we're going to the Commanders and Eagles game, obviously, I was cheering for the Vikings to win on Monday night. The Vikings let me down. Kirk Cousins let me down. This guy cannot play well in prime time. So if we're looking at the Eagles and the Commanders, the winner of this game possibly gets first place in the NFC East. I'm not quite sure, but it's a very big game. And this is a home game for the Commanders at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. Now, Carson Wentz has been phenomenal. He has 650 yards this season, 7 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Carson Wentz is a guy that I told you guys to go scoop, right, in the waiver wires, right? And I'm telling you guys today, you need to start Carson Wentz one more time, one more week. You want to ride him. You want to continue to start him until he starts to not perform at a high level. So I'm starting Carson Wentz one more time. In terms of the I almost said Redskins, the Washington Commanders wide receivers, who do you start? Is it Terry McLaurin? Is it Jahan Dotson? Is it Curtis Samuel? Curtis Samuel seems to be the guy that's getting the most targets from the team as of right now, as of today, right? So I like Curtis Samuel a lot to continue to get those targets. If he continues to get those targets, he's going to be in line for 5 to 7 receptions every single game. There's a scenario where Curtis Samuel leads the Washington Commanders in receptions this year, and if he does that, you're looking at a top 24 wide receiver in fantasy football. Carson Wentz has the power to support 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 wide receivers in the top 24 this season. Now, obviously, Terry McLaurin got to step it up. He got to get his catches up. He has to get his yards up and his touchdowns. Jahan Dotson has been touchdown dependent, so that's a pretty cool thing with Jahan Dotson. He's getting love. He has 3 touchdowns so far this season. Curtis Samuel has 2 touchdowns, and Terry has 1. So, but look for Terry to flip. The Terry thing is definitely going to flip. Ladarius Grant says Terry is not the same. So Samuel, yeah, Terry's not the same, but I think that he's about to flip soon. That switch is going to be turned on, and when that switch is turned on, he is going to be a beast. Jeb Armstrong, appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Says, I'm looking for some trade advice. I'm being offered Debo for Javonte Williams. My other running backs are Taylor and Barkley. My starting wide receivers are Sutton and Moore. I wouldn't. Javonte Williams, I feel, is going to be a top 12 running back this season. Debo with Jimmy Garoppolo is going to ball out. There's no doubts about it. Jimmy with Debo, I love that. I think that Debo has a chance to be a top 5, top 7 wide receiver. So this one is kind of tough. It's kind of tough. I don't hate it. I think it's pretty even, but I'm just a Javonte Williams guy. So if I'm you being offered Debo for Javonte, I would possibly say take it, because then it will make your team a whole lot better. You definitely can get away with Taylor and Barkley the rest of the season, especially with Barkley being healthy. But I do think that Javonte Williams does have RB1 upside this year. But yeah, it's a fair trade. I would do the trade. But Darius Grant writes, I think it's time for Derrick Henry to request a trade. The Titans offensive line got him looking like Eddie Lacy. And the funny thing is that Derrick Henry actually went to Alabama like Eddie Lacy. But yeah, the Titans offensive line looks pretty bad. The team looks pretty bad. And it's amazing because this Titans team, they had the best record in the NFL last year. So it's crazy to me. Man, appreciate the love, man. I'm just trying to get this YouTube thing going, trying to get this thing out there. I do 2 shows based off of fantasy a week. I do a Commanders show. I do Lakers. I do Wizards. I do NBA. I do NFL. So it's like a buffet. In the title of the description of each show is going to tell you what the show is about. But definitely appreciate you subscribing, Jeb. Hey, hop on anytime. Any questions you have, trade advice, starts and sits. That's what I'm here for. I appreciate it, man. Let's see. So with the Commanders, we already talked about the wide receivers, Curtis Samuel being the guy right now. I think that Terry's going to come along and be that dude as the season goes on. Carson Wentz is playing lights out right now, playing out of his mind. Everybody is liking the new Miles Sanders. He has 30 carries for 176 yards and a touchdown. But my only thing with Miles Sanders is that I can't trust him. Miles Sanders so far in this small sample size of 2 games, he's been a nice RB2, RB3. So if you like Miles Sanders, that's your thing. I'm not a Miles Sanders guy, but if you're in desperate need of starting somebody that could potentially do something for you, then it's Miles Sanders. So far so good for Miles Sanders this year. If he keeps his pace, he's well on for over 1,000 yards at the end of the season, and potentially 6 or 7 touchdowns, which is pretty interesting, right? So yeah, the Commanders that I'm starting this week is Carson Wentz. I'm starting all 3 wide receivers for the Commanders until this offense cools off. Antonio Gibson could be a nice mid-tier level running back too this week. With Gibson, he's not running the ball well, but he's catching passes. He's gaining yards. And in PPR, you want running backs like that. I have Austin Eckler, who's a PPR king, and then I have Antonio Gibson and Breece Hall and some of these other guys. I would run with Gibson one more week just to kind of see. And it seems like his floor is 12 points. His upside is around 20 if he's catching passes. And Carson Wentz wants to spread the ball. Logan Thomas is another guy that I will start this week if I'm in desperate need of a tight end. Let me get into some of these chats. Ladarius Grant says, I must say, Wentz has proven me wrong. My cousin, who's a Commanders fan, says that he's riding with Wentz heavy. I like Wentz a lot. In leagues where I drafted Patrick Mahomes as my QB1, I drafted Carson Wentz as my QB2. And those teams, I'm like 2-0 right now. Carson Wentz is carrying my teams right now, especially in Superflex leagues. What's good, Bungalow Joe? I appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. Bungalow Joe writes, trade away Mike Thomas and Cordero Patterson for Dalvin Cook and Terry McLaurin. I would do it. Not just because I'm a Commanders fan, but it's so much value in getting a Dalvin Cook and a Terry McLaurin, who I predicted this year to be wide receiver 12 in fantasy. Right now, he's off to a terrible, slow start. I think that when that switch flips, Terry McLaurin is going to go off, and you guys are going to be glad that you have him on your team. So, yes, I will definitely trade away Mike Thomas and Cordero Patterson for Dalvin Cook and Terry McLaurin in PPR. Caden, the Colts fan, appreciate you hopping on, man. Please like it up. Please subscribe if you haven't. Caden writes, am I stupid to trade Cooper Kupp and Javonte away for Devontae Adams, Swift, and Gabe Davis? I won't say stupid. I'll say this. Cooper Kupp, I feel, could potentially end up wide receiver 1 overall once again. Cooper Kupp is a top 3 wide receiver. Devontae Adams is great, but Cooper Kupp has Stafford, and they have that chemistry. You want to ride that chemistry down to the ground. Javonte Williams, I feel, is going to be a top 12 running back this year. Swift, after Eckler, for me, I love Swift. So this is a tough trade. And then you're getting Gabe Davis on top of that. I will still lean the Cooper Kupp and Javonte side. Cooper Kupp is just Cooper Kupp, man. The guy has the potential to get you 2, maybe 3 touchdowns. So keep Cooper Kupp, keep Javonte Williams, stay away from Adams. And remember, Swift does get injured. So, and then Gabe Davis is still that wild card. We don't know what we're getting out of Gabe Davis. Ladarius Grant writes, Diggs is the best wide receiver in the league right now. And the Cowboys just had Justin Jefferson locked. I would give you that. Justin Jefferson was locked. I think it was by the Eagles, but I get what you're saying. Jefferson was locked, but I think that Jefferson still can compete with Cooper Kupp. He's being used in that same offense that Cooper Kupp was being used in. And it just, it happens. Every now and again, good players do get locked up. Diggs is the best wide receiver right now because he has the best quarterback in the league. Caden writes, I got Curtis Samuel off waivers. That's a great get. If you guys have heard the beginning of the show, you guys know that I am in love with Curtis Samuel and his talents this year. I think he can lead the Commanders in targets. So that's what everyone has been telling me. Yeah, man, I would definitely say keep the Cooper Kupp and Javonte side. Adams is great, but Adams and Derek Carr don't really have that chemistry yet. We saw it in week 1, but at the end of the day, that Stafford to Kupp is special. It's special. So keep Kupp, and then Javonte Williams is going to be a dog. I mean, we all saw week 1. He had, 11 receptions? There's going to be more weeks like that where he's leading that backfield in Denver in receptions, in yards, in carries, in just about every category. Melvin Gordon is good, but I'm keeping Javonte. That's just me. Leaving the race. Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like it up. Please subscribe if you haven't before. Leaving the race writes, I have Mixon and Barkley. Should I trade Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Bateman for Mixon, A.J. Brown, J.J. Kittle? Look, this is a lot to dissect. Let's go ahead and look at this one player at a time. Mixon has been off this year, right? Barkley, he's a wild card. He can be good. He can be bad, right? Should you trade So you have Mixon and Barkley. Should you trade Mike Williams, who had a great game? Keenan Allen might fall into that injury thing he does every few years. So Mike Williams is a dog. DJ Moore's up and down. I love Rashad Bateman. You're going to be gaining. Okay, so should you trade Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Bateman? I'm sorry, it's a lot. And Mixon. Okay, it's a lot. This is a really big trade for it. All right, Ms. Barber, for AJ Brown, JJ Kittle. I'm going to lead for AJ Brown, JJ, if it's Justin Jefferson and Kittle, because AJ Brown and Justin Jefferson alone is going to get you tons and tons and tons of points. Those are two dogs in the wide receiver room, and then you'll still get to have Barkley as your other running back. So yeah, I would make the trade. As much as I like Bateman, I would make the trade because AJ Brown and JJ is a game changer. And if Kittle comes back healthy, Jimmy Garoppolo was back. I'm telling you, Kittle is going to have those 5 games before he gets hurt. He's going to give you those 5 games, and then he's done. But when Kittle is healthy, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. Caden says, my team is Lamar, Kupp, Williams, Kamara, Goddard, Samuel, Moore, Godwin at the flex. Oh, I love that team. This is a superstar team. This is a superstar team. I don't know how this team cannot win at all. Because this is your team, you leave your team alone. When Godwin comes back and he's healthy, then you got a fire squad. Ladarius says, what's going on with Joe Burrow this year? It's not really Joe Burrow. It's what's going on with the Bengals. Why can't they protect Joe Burrow? That's what it all boils down to. I think Joe Burrow is fine. I think the rest of the team is not. 12-man PPR. I mean, that's a solid squad. What do you think? What do you think I could get from Mike Williams? I really think you can get a solid RB2. Now, I know you might not be an Antonio Gibson fan, but you definitely can trade Mike Williams for Antonio Gibson, a guy who has upside to get you 12 to 15 points a week, and that's really what you need out of your running back. But you definitely could get a better running back than Antonio Gibson. I only use Gibson as an example. You want to find a PPR type of back that's going to get a lot of receptions and has a lot of upside. So when you look, even a Kamara, you might be able to get a Kamara right now for Mike Williams. He just blew up. We know that once Keenan Allen comes back, Mike Williams might not be getting this kind of target share. So that's something to consider. Mike Williams, he started out hot last year, then he cooled off. But you can definitely get a really good player, a really good running back for Mike Williams. You might mess around and get a guy like George Kittle for Mike Williams. There's going to be a team out there that's searching for that alpha, that alpha type wide receiver, and Mike Williams can definitely get you lots of good pieces. Leaving the Race says, I have Jalen Hurts too. Justin Jefferson. Yeah. Appreciate it. Hey, absolutely, man. This is what I'm here for. If you guys have any trade questions, if you guys have any starts and sits questions, I will stop what I'm doing and get those questions answered. I'd rather do that than just talk about the games and, what can happen, what might not happen. Caden says that he is subbed. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the love. I'm really trying to grow this YouTube channel. Next question, Cameron B. Appreciate you hopping on the stream. If you haven't subscribed, please show your boy some love and subscribe. He says, I hope you're having a good day. I'm having a great day. A fantastic day, by the way. A 16-team league. Oh, man, 16-team. I love it. I love it, man. It says Burrow, CMC, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Amari Cooper, Dawson Knox. Should I flex Kareem Hunt or Brandon Ayuk this week? This is a tough one. For one, I think that Kareem Hunt gets love this week. With that tough Steelers defense, they're going to need an extra a weapon. And it's going to be Kareem Hunt catching a lot of those passes instead of Amari Cooper this week, supposedly. But I like Jimmy G with all these weapons. With Jimmy G being quarterback, I love Brandon Ayuk. I love Deebo Samuel. I love George Kittle. If Kittle does not play, you start Brandon Ayuk. But then you're not going to know because Kareem Hunt plays on Thursday. My heart, my gut is saying go Kareem Hunt, and that's what I would do. Caden says, my team can't win because the number one guy in my league has Mahomes, CMC, Dalvin Cook, Pittman, Tyreek Pitts. How did y'all let him do this? Was it a draft or was he trading for all these guys? This guy has nothing but studs, and I love Michael Pittman this year. I think that Michael Pittman is going to be amazing this season. Matt Ryan is nothing without Pittman, and we see that Matt Ryan, through history, targets his number one wide receivers 150 to 170 times. Go and do the research for yourself. Matt Ryan loves his number one targets, and he's going to target them 150 to 170 targets per year. So, yeah, I love Pittman this year. It says, to me, Mike Williams is 3 or 33 each week. Super inconsistent. Yes, he's super inconsistent. That's why you sell. That's why you sell right away after a great game. And this is the perfect opportunity to go ahead and trade Mike Williams. That's why I don't like him. I don't like him either. I don't really have Mike Williams anywhere. I wish I had more of Mike Williams, but I'm not a Mike Williams fan whatsoever. Mitch Waller, man, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please subscribe, and share if you haven't already. Mitch Waller says, would you trade DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, and Edmonds for Debo and Javonte Williams? Yes, yes, yes. And I'm saying yes once again. Debo and Javonte, we've talked about these two guys earlier on. Somebody wanted to trade away Debo and Javonte, and I said don't do it. Debo and Javonte are two guys that I love this season. And with Jimmy G being quarterback, you're going to see the old Debo. You're going to see Debo be Debo with Jimmy G being a quarterback. So, yeah, definitely make that trade. So I have Kamara, Drake London, Devontae Adams as my starters. My team is in shambles. I feel you. Even without really knowing who was on your team before I read the previous comment, I will still make that trade because if you're getting a Debo and a Javonte, these are two game changers, honestly. Ladarius Grant says, the legendary Grant says, Trey Lance lasted longer than I would have thought before Jimmy G got the starting job. So for you have this thing with Trey Lance. You don't believe in Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a popular name in the dynasty world. I love Trey Lance, and I love Trey Lance upside. I get it, man. Things happen, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Caden says, so after Saquon got me 40-something incompetent player traded. So after Saquon got 40, some incompetent player traded CMC, and oh my God. So somebody traded CMC and Tariq Hill for Saquon Barkley. Oh, man. See, these are the kind of leagues that kind of make me mad because the guy that knows what he's doing gets better. Oh, man, that's rough. Grant says, I saw Ruggs working out a couple days ago. Do you think a desperate team like the Ravens can sign him? First of all, the Ravens are not desperate. The Ravens got Duvernay. The Ravens got, I almost said Hollywood Brown. They got Bateman. They have Likely. They're using Isaiah Likely more as a slot wide receiver. So I don't think the Ravens are desperate for a wide receiver just because of the style of offense that Lamar Jackson runs. So in terms of Ruggs getting into the league this year, maybe not this year, maybe next year or the year after, but he definitely does have talent. Some team will take a chance on Ruggs. I just don't see it being done this season, especially at this point in the season. Man, that's rough. It says, especially since it was a $50 buy-in. Oh, man. Whoever that made that trade has made that one guy the front runner to win it all. But, things do happen. In the NFL, it's any given Sunday. Stock go up, stock goes down. So just keep fighting, play that waiver wire tough, and you never know. Sometimes the stacked team gets to the championship and then end up losing. Connor, man, what's good? What's good? Connor says, would you take Dylan or James Robinson the rest of the season? For those who watch the show, for those who for those who know me, know that I love A.J. Dillon. I'm taking A.J. Dillon over James Robinson all day long. Dillon is going to get the bulk of the carries, and he's also going to be involved in the pass game. I love A.J. Dillon a lot. I do like James Robinson, but I think that Dillon has a better season than James Robinson. Sebastian, man, what's good, man? Please like, please subscribe, please share if you haven't already. Says Cook or Debo for Jamar and James Robinson. Man, for some reason, Debo has been in every single trade scenario today. Dalvin Cook and Debo for Jamar Chase and James Robinson. Give me the Dalvin Cook and Debo side. I know that Jamar Chase is a dog, and I know that James Robinson is balling out, but who do I trust? Who do I count on when the games become tough, middle of the season, heading into the playoffs? Give me Dalvin Cook and give me Debo. Those are the two that I'm rocking with. I know who Jamar Chase is, and I know what he brings to the table. But at the same time, Joe Burrow has been kind of off a little bit. His team has been kind of off. And T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and all these other weapons that are on the Bengals, they're still there as well. So you can see some regression out of Jamar Chase. Slight regression. So I would go Debo and Dalvin Cook, especially with Jimmy G being the quarterback right now. Mark, what's good, man? Welcome to the show. Please like, please subscribe, and please share if you haven't already. Mark writes, should I do CD Lamb, Juju and AJ Dillon for Jamar Chase and Javonte? Woo! Man, y'all are hitting me with these questions today, man. CD Lamb with no Dak, it's a no-brainer. So you get rid of CD Lamb. You get rid of Juju because he has not been good. As much as I love AJ Dillon, if I'm getting a Jamar Chase and Javonte Williams, I'm making this deal. Give me Jamar Chase and Javonte Williams side over CD Lamb and Juju, which we don't know what they're going to do this season. Yeah, definitely a great trade for you. Since the NFL is the most unpredictable sport ever, it's always someone you least expect winning and putting up numbers. Exactly. Joe Flacco was balling right now. Joe Flacco is a legit number 2 quarterback in 2 quarterback leagues. You can start Joe Flacco with confidence and know he has the potential to get you 20 to 30 points. He's been doing it. Garrett Wilson is balling out, right? So that's the NFL for you. It's up and down, up and down. You never know the players that are going to end up balling out. And that's why I love the NFL. That's why I love fantasy football. Sometimes it's those desperation plays that help you win your league, help you win that $1,000 league or that $500 league or whatever the money is in your league. DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel in the flex this week. I'm going Curtis Samuel. Until Curtis Samuel slows down, Curtis Samuel is giving you 18 to 22 points a game. I'm going to ride Curtis Samuel. Give me Curtis Samuel. DJ Moore, he's so up and down. We don't even know who DJ Moore is right now. We don't even know who Baker Mayfield is. Sometimes Baker Mayfield is up. Sometimes Baker Mayfield is down. So, yeah, give me Curtis Samuel at least for one more week. In the Texans and the Bears game, there's no players that I like on the Bears. I'm not messing with Justin Fields. He's a must-sit. I'm not messing with Darnell Mooney. He's a must-sit. Cole Kmet, sit. The DST for the Bears might be the best play this week. I'm going to start the Bears defense over any other Bears player right now, currently. And when you look at Houston, people say Dameon Pierce, I'm not interested. Brandon Cooks, I'm not interested. Davis Mills, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in any players, any skill position players between the Texans and the Bears this week. The best play would be the Bears DST, maybe even the Texans DST if you're desperate for a play this week. We move on to the Raiders and the Titans game. Weird game. Derrick Henry should go off. It's a must start. Obviously, you start Devontae Adams. Obviously, you start Derek Carr if you're looking for quarterback help. The disappointing player that might disappoint one more week, once again, is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has been terrible. Hunter Renfrow has been terrible as well. So those are 2 guys that can be wild cards for you, but I don't trust either one of those players. Mitch Waller writes, do you think that Amari Cooper builds off of last week and continues to produce? I actually talked about this at the beginning of the show. I'm hoping that this is the new Amari Cooper. I'm in a 2-flex league, and I'm really considering flexing Amari Cooper. I mean, he had a great game last week, and one would hope that that's, something new. But I also think that for this week, Kareem Hunt possibly gets more love than Amari Cooper. But we'll see. Says picked up Garrett Wilson off waivers. Great pick. Also kind of stuck between the 2 for a flex spot. Go Garrett Wilson. I'm going Garrett Wilson. In this same league that I'm telling you about, I have Garrett Wilson and Amari Cooper, and I went Garrett Wilson. So if I went Garrett Wilson, you should go Garrett Wilson too. All right. Do I trade Burrow and Waddle for Lamar, Terry, and Aguilar? Whew, this is tough because I know that you're pissed off at Joe Burrow right now, but you want to hang on to Jalen Waddle. As much as I love Terry McLaurin, you want to hang on to Jalen Waddle. I do believe that Lamar has number 1 QB overall. I predicted Lamar Jackson this season to have 3,500 yards passing, 25 passing touchdowns, 1,100 rushing yards, and 10 rushing scores. If that happens, Lamar Jackson is the number 1 quarterback overall. So I get it. If the rest of your wide receivers are good, then let go of Waddle. But for me, I'm keeping Waddle. Waddle is hot right now. Tua is going to feed this guy. Waddle is going to be the better wide receiver when it's all said and done. I'm predicting that Waddle outscores Tyreek Hill. That's just me. But it's not a bad trade. It's a fairly fair trade, but I wouldn't do it. Caden says, I just got offered Mike Williams for Godwin. Oh, Mike Williams and Godwin for Deebo. Whew, that's tough. That's tough. I'm a big Godwin guy. I think that Godwin comes in, and when Godwin gets healthy, he's going to be a top 15 wide receiver every single week. I think that Godwin can give you Deebo Samuel type upside. That's just what I think. I think you're giving up too much, but if your team is in shambles and you're trying to win right now, then you go ahead and make the trade. You give up Mike Williams and Godwin for Deebo. Deebo is one of those special wide receivers, but Godwin, man, go back and look at the last 5 games for Godwin before he got hurt. He was getting those super targets from Tom Brady. But this might be a trade that you make because Tom Brady doesn't look the same. So with the inconsistent Mike Williams and then the Godwin being hurt, not knowing when he's coming back for Deebo, with the upside in Jimmy G, pull the trigger. I'll pull the trigger. Why not? YOLO. Abraham, appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please subscribe, and please share if you haven't already. Abraham writes, do I start DJ Moore or Curtis in my flex? I think somebody else also asked this question, but I'm going Curtis Samuel for sure. I think that Curtis Samuel, he's hot right now, and I'm going to ride Curtis Samuel. So definitely go Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel and Deebo have been 2 hot topics in the show today so far. It's amazing. Caden says, I had Godwin last year. Yeah, Godwin is I'm just a big Godwin fan, but I can definitely pull that trigger. And there's still going to be other wide receivers that you can find because you don't know when Godwin is coming back. And he came back, got hurt. So it could be a lingering injury all year. So I definitely could see why you want to make that trade. Caden says, I just don't know about Kamara this year. I'm a big Kamara fan. And I don't know either. I don't know what to expect between the injury and the suspension that's looming. Eventually, Kamara will get suspended, potentially. So if you can get max value for Kamara, you do that right now. If you can kind of downgrade slightly, let's say you trade Kamara for a Eli Mitchell type guy, not an injured Eli Mitchell, but an Eli Mitchell type guy and another wide receiver or another piece of talent, you go ahead and do that. Trade Kamara for the highest value while you can. R.A., what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Please subscribe and please like if you haven't already. R.A. writes, Gibson or James Robinson? Man, this is tough. This is tough. I have both players in one particular league, but I'm going to go Gibson because he has pass catching ability, and James Robinson is pretty much touchdown dependent. He's getting all the goal line carries, and ETN is getting all of the receiver work. So if it's a PPR league, I will definitely go Gibson. If it's a standard league, then I'll go James Robinson. It says half PPR. Yeah, you definitely go Gibson. Yeah, definitely go Gibson. You have Eli Mitchell. Somebody just offered me a trade right now. It's a dynasty league. He's giving me Eli Mitchell, and he wants Michael Carter and 2 4th-round picks. I might take that deal just because I know what Eli Mitchell brings to the table when he's fully healthy. Michael Carter, I do love. He is younger. So just one of those things where you try to build out your team. So I may or may not take that deal. Caden says, I got offered Kamara for Pittman. Ooh. But I don't have any running backs. That's tough. I wouldn't do it. I'd rather have Pittman than have Kamara. With Pittman, I believe that Pittman has a chance to be a top 7 wide receiver this year in fantasy. So give me Pittman over Kamara, as much as I love Kamara. What's good? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. It says, would you trade Dalvin and Waddle for Jefferson and Javonte? Woo. Y'all are hitting me with these tough ones. Let me see. Let's break this down. I think that Javonte and Dalvin Cook possibly end up with the same kinds of numbers this year. Both guys are going to be top 12 running backs, right? Then it all comes down to Jefferson and Waddle. Give me Jefferson over Waddle, as much as I love Waddle. So, yes, give me the Jefferson and Javonte side. That was a good one. Hey, that one is actually closer than what we think. When you add in the injury history for Dalvin Cook and with Javonte's ascension in actually catching the ball, yeah, give me that Jefferson and Javonte side. Caden says he has a quad injury and those do linger. Yeah. yeah. It's a toss-up, man. It's a toss-up. Like with both guys, both Kamara and Pittman, if healthy, if both guys are fully healthy, give me Kamara. So you just never know. Already says, cop Brian Robinson Jr. I said this on the show 2 days ago. I had Brian Robinson Jr. as one of my must pick up candidates. You want to, definitely cop Brian Robinson Jr. and stash him. I think that Brian Robinson Jr. ends up being the RB1 for the Commanders when he comes back and he's fully healthy. You see, the Commanders are struggling to run the ball. He's going to be a guy that gets all the goal line carries. He's going to get all the tough carries, all the tough yards. They're going to split that backfield exactly 60-40 or 50-50. So, yes, definitely cop Brian Robinson and stash him. I have Brian Robinson in every single redraft league. I drafted this guy with the very last pick, and he's in my IR sitting, and I can't wait for him to come back. And, he's going to lead that backfield in carries. It says, might turn good. Absolutely. Caden says, but if I trade Kamara for Pittman, can I do the cup deal that I sent out? I see what you're saying. Woo, man, these are tough questions today. I really got to think. Lamar, Swift, Javonte, Adams, Pittman, Goddard, DJ Godwin, or Samuel. See, because you have so many other good wide receivers, you can do I see what you're saying. It's tough. This is tough. If you trade Kamara for Pittman, yeah, I'll trade Kamara for Pittman. Or you can keep Kamara. Like, see, when it comes to PPR, I love when I have these pass-catching backs like Swift, Javonte, Kamara. Those are the guys that I want to have. But then you also want to have stud wide receivers like Adams and Pittman. So, I think if you do this Kamara deal, then you're good. You're good. This team right here is stacked. But I will still say keep that Cooper Kupp. Keep Cooper Kupp. Keep Cooper Kupp for sure. But then, I mean, it can go both ways, man. Just follow your heart, man. I'm going back and forth with these deals. It says, thanks, my guy. Defo left like a... Oh, man, appreciate you, man. This season is tough. It's the unknown. We don't know who's going to rise. We don't know who's going to fall. There's going to be a lot of guys that rise. And we have to remember, this is just 2 weeks. I might be even overreacting with some of my takes. The good thing is that every 2 weeks, things change. Every 4 weeks. So I judge my teams every 4 weeks. Look at the trends. If a guy starts to fall, especially losing targets, losing touchdowns, or getting injured, you trade those guys as they fall, and you acquire the players as they rise. Like right now, Debo, he's rising because he has Jimmy G. We're going to come back next week, and we're going to talk about, how great Debo Samuels was able to play. I'm telling you guys, you want to get the players that are on the upswing. You want to buy low on the players that are not doing well. So that's kind of like what I do. It says Mike Williams at the flex. Duh. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Mike Williams, man. Mike Williams is good. Whether we like him or not, he is solid. Then he says, I'm getting Gabe Davis. Love Gabe Davis. Man, you're loaded, man. You're loaded. You're loaded. Trust your gut. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of those deals, to be honest. When you have talent, but also one thing that I want to encourage you guys is you never want to sell a lot of your depth to get one guy. If that one guy gets hurt, your team is done. So if you have a team that's deep and loaded, leave them because when people do get hurt, you can just insert. Different players. Mitch says, I have Jameson Williams in my IR spot. I do as well in plenty of leagues. How do you think he'll do when he gets off IR? Wide receiver 2 behind Amon-Ra. He's definitely going to be wide receiver 2. I think that as the season progresses, maybe you start seeing a Jameson Williams at his full potential, like week 10, 11, 12, towards the end of the year. Kind of like the same time that Amon-Ra St. Brown started to take off last year. It was towards the end of the year. So I see Jameson Williams being that same kind of guy that takes off towards the end of the year. So definitely stash him. Keep him as long as possible, but if you have to let him go, you let him go. But yeah, I love Jameson Williams a lot this year. I've stashed him in just about every single league that I have him in. Literally, Lamar, Swift, Javonte, Pittman, Adams, Goddard, Gabe Davis at the flex. Look, this team is a championship team. It's a championship team. Lamar has a chance to be a top 3 quarterback. Swift and Javonte, these are guys that I've already penciled in top 12 running backs. Pittman, top 7. Adams, top 7. Goddard has a chance to be a top 5, top 6 tight end this year. Gabe Davis is my wild card. I don't know if he's going to be a top 24, if he has top 15 upside. It all depends on how he's used and how many targets he gets. But Gabe Davis in the flex is always powerful. Don, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please subscribe, please share if you haven't already. Don writes, do you think Josh Jacobs is good enough to start at RB2? No. I have Singletary, Carter, and Dobbins. But here's the problem with Josh Jacobs. If he's getting goal line carries, if he's getting touchdowns, Josh Jacobs looks amazing. What we failed to realize is that Josh Jacobs is touchdown dependent. I didn't even notice that. So this year, he's running okay. He's not gaining all the yards that we want him to get. But Josh Jacobs scares me. Singletary scares me even more. I've dropped Singletary. I do like Michael Carter because of his receiving upside. And when Dobbins is fully healthy, you're going to love Dobbins a lot. Bronco Players, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please subscribe. Bronco Players writes, trade Nick Chubb for Javonte Williams and Michael Pittman? Absolutely. Absolutely. As much as I love Nick Chubb, give me Javonte Williams, give me Michael Pittman. Those are two of my guys. Chubb is my guy, but if I can get two of my guys for one, making that trade all day long. RA says Hurts, JJ, Debo, Swift, Gibson, Hockenson, Saints D, Waddle in the flex. Strong. That's a strong team. I love Hurts this year. Hurts reminds me of Lamar Jackson MVP type season. I'm not saying that Hurts wins MVP, but what I am saying is that Hurts is balling, and he's balling out of control right now. They've geared that offense. They've built that offense around him. JJ's a dog. Debo's a dog. Swift is a dog. He's going to be a top 12 running back. Gibson is a sneaky player because he has some receiving upside. I love Gibson this year. Hockenson is the only guy that we don't know what we're getting out of Hockenson, but definitely look on the waiver wire. If there's a Logan Thomas or Irv Smith, grab one of those guys. And you might want to start one of those guys over Hockenson until Hockenson starts to actually produce a little bit more. Love the Saints defense this week, and I definitely love Waddle in any scenario. Powerful team, all right? Cole the Bowl, what's good, man? Like it up, subscribe if you haven't already. It says, wanting to trade Hollywood for a RB or wide receiver in an 8-man PPR league. So you want to trade Hollywood for a running back. I get it. Definitely, this is the time to trade Hollywood before DeAndre Hopkins gets back. If you're trading Hollywood in an 8-man league, there's gonna be some options. There's gonna be some options. Somebody offered you Gabe Davis. I would take Gabe Davis over Hollywood. I get it. I know Hollywood is the number one wide receiver right now for the Arizona Cardinals, but at the same time, I like Gabe Davis upside long term. Playing with the best quarterback, playing in an offense where a couple of those Stephon Diggs touchdowns could have easily gone to Gabe Davis had Gabe Davis been healthy. So we have to think of that too. Gabe Davis does go deep, and he is a deep threat. So I like Gabe Davis more than I like Hollywood Brown. But in terms of getting a running back for Hollywood, options that are available that I would think would possibly be like guys like a Breece Hall, maybe a guy like Antonio Gibson, those lower tier, mid-tier guys. Even a J.K. Dobbins might be an option. You grab him, you stash him. David Montgomery, Henderson, those are the kind of guys that you might get for a Hollywood, especially in an 8-man league, because there's so many wide receivers out there in free agency in the 8-man leagues. Running backs are hard to find, so you might have to go for those mid-tier running back 2s, low-tier running back 2s, early, running back 3s. So those are just some options. Just I have Hockenson and Schultz. Oh man, that's tough. That's tough, man. Schultz really hurt me. Schultz, I felt could be an elite tight end this year, but he really let me down. So I don't really know what I'm getting out of Schultz this year. Hockenson is just pissing me off right now. Don, what's good? What's good? Don says Murray, Taylor, Dobbins or Jacobs, AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, Andrews, Juju, Ayuk. What are your recommendations? So let's see. With this roster, obviously you're starting Kyler Murray, obviously. Go Taylor, of course. Between Jacobs and Dobbins, go Jacobs. Even if Dobbins is fully healthy, you go Jacobs. Until you've seen what Dobbins can do, go Jacobs. AJ Brown, solid. Keenan Allen, if Keenan Allen is hurt, then you definitely want to go Juju and Ayuk. But if Keenan Allen is healthy, you definitely start Keenan Allen. If I had to choose between Juju and Ayuk, give me Ayuk. I don't trust Juju right now. Juju is in my must sit list. right now until he starts to actually produce a little bit more. I got about 2 more minutes left on the stream. I can answer any more questions you guys have, and then I got to go work out. But, man, this has been a fun stream. I'm going to stick around for 2 more minutes, see if I get any more questions that you guys want answering, and I'll go ahead and answer those. For those of you guys that are joining in, please subscribe. Show your boys some love. I'm trying to grow the YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing more and more fantasy football streams for purposes like this to get questions answered. I try to get to every single comment in my shows. Don says, I am 0-2 right now, and this is a must-win for me. I'm willing to make some moves. Absolutely. 0-3 sucks. 0-3 can quickly become 0-4, but definitely just stay consistent. Just continue to trust your gut, because a lot of times when we start 0-2, we start to trade our teams. We start to make these crazy moves, and what tends to happen is that people flip the switch. And I remember one year I had Darren Waller, and then I had Zach Ertz. This was the last year of Zach Ertz being relevant on the Eagles, and I didn't know that. I traded Darren Waller. Darren Waller goes on to have the most amazing season. So sometimes it's okay to just weather the storm. I think until you're 0-6, then you're out of it. So, if you're 0-2, 0-3, you can still make a push. You want to play the best that you can. You want to rack up as many points, because at the end of the year, points are really going to matter whether you make the playoffs or you don't make the playoffs. All right, last comment, and then I'm out of here. It says I got Carter, Singletary, and Boyd too. Yeah, I like Carter a lot this year. I don't like Singletary. I thought I liked Singletary after week 1. Singletary kind of let me down. Tyler Boyd, he's more so injury dependent. If T. Higgins doesn't play or somebody's hurt, then you go Boyd. Boyd is an option that you can have. He's definitely a handcuff. Kevin D says, start Joe Burrow or Matthew Stafford. Man, that's tough. Give me Matthew Stafford. We don't know who Joe Burrow is right now. But, guys, this is my time. This is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please like. Please share. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next stream. Y'all be blessed. I love y'all. I'm out. Peace.